Hello and welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton, and welcome to another 24/7 news report. The headline news today comes from Give Me Sport, and it's that Everton have identified Richarlison as their first choice forward target this summer and are contemplating making a bid. We did run a poll for this on the Twitter at Everton Newsfeed, which at the end of it had 3,365 votes. So thank you to everyone who did vote. It was Richarlison back to Everton. Give us your thoughts. 68% of the people said yes. 12% of the people said maybe, and 20% said no. I do understand the basis of the 20%. I think I'm leaning more to the 68% of I'd really like to have him back. But I do understand he's had injury problems at Spurs, which has really troubled his minutes. But I think he has had impressive moments when he's played, which is impressive considering how bad Spurs have been. He knows the club, he knows the culture. He'll fit a David Moyes system perfectly, and he's a much better goal scorer than everyone else we've got currently, to be completely honest with you. I don't think there's a debate about that. He's shown it when he was getting 12, 13 Premier League goals every season for us, which is something we'd cry out for up front, and that's not including the probably 6 or 7 assists that he could add as well if he can play to his best, and maybe we can temper those injuries a little bit. A lot of it does depend on the price though. 15 to 20 million I think would be a really good price for him. I think you're not going to get someone who knows the club and who cares about the club and who wants to see the club succeed as much as Richarlison. And if you get the Richarlison that we saw before he left, then I think it's a fantastic little bit of business, and I think it's one what the club should be considering. Don't get me wrong, I'd like to see us go for someone like a Liam Delap, but I do think that's out of the question if I'm going to be honest. So I do think Richarlison would be a good option. Premier League experience at the club, knows the fans, and we know he'll try his heart out every game, and he'll do everything he can to get us points, which is something we need. More people who will, I think, fight but also have that technical ability to change games, which I think Richarlison does have. Shown it for Brazil with his overhead kicks. He showed it for us in that late run where he basically helped save us from relegation by himself. So yeah, I'd really like to see Richarlison back. I think it'd be a very smart move from the club, if I'm honest with you. But again, a lot of it depends on the fee involved. If they want like 30, 35 million, he's not worth that much with the baggage that he's had during his time at Spurs, to be honest with you. The next bit of news comes from Ben Jacobs, and that's that Everton have an interest in Leicester City midfielder Wilfred Ndidi. The Nigerian had a relegation release clause of £9 million. Fulham and Crystal Palace also have an interest, as well as Saudi side Al Ali. This is an interesting one. I love Wilfred Ndidi. I think he's one of the best destroyers in the Premier League. It might sound crazy to someone, but I think the defensive numbers back it up. And then people will be like, well, look at Leicester's defensive record. He's got one of the most useless back fours I've seen in Premier League history behind him. He can't do everything himself. He's proven his time over at Leicester, where there were 30-40 million pound bids being considered for him at points, and Leicester never accepted. I think he's a fantastic player. Won the FA Cup with them, has been around for a while, and has really proven himself in the league. He is 28 now, but I think £9 million is a steal. I think he's a much better player than someone like a Thomas Souček, to be honest with you. Or for what we need. I think we need real grit in midfield, a real tackler, someone who could replace Idrissa Gueye. If Idrissa Gueye goes, I think Ndidi would be a perfect replacement. Defensive numbers are still, most of them are still in the top 5% in all of Europeans' top 5 leagues. His assist numbers per 90 were in like the top 15% of defensive midfielders as well, which, don't get me wrong, is crazy, but it proves that he does have something on the ball and he can contribute going forward. But he is on 75k a week. That's probably for us right now a lot of money, and I think it will be bumped up a little bit by the fact that Al Ali are interested. I think it depends. I think for 75k a week, I'd take him. I think he offers enough on a 2-3 year deal where he could really help push us up the league and offer that defensive stability in front of the back line, a protector in front of them, where it feels like sometimes, even though I love Idrissa Gueye, even the spot next to him, it feels like it's vacated, and it feels like there's a lot of space for players to get in between. I think Ndidi would really help solve that. We did also run a poll of this on the Twitter, which had 900 votes. Again, thank you for everyone that voted. Wilfred Ndidi at Everton, leave us your thoughts. 48% said yes, 20% said no, and 20% said maybe, and 32% said no. I checked through the comments, and a lot of the people who were saying no, it's just blatantly obvious they've not really watched much of Ndidi before, and it is just it's one of those where they just see Leicester's league position and it automatically assumes that means he's a terrible player, when we are not above signing players from relegation teams. We are probably going to finish 15th in the league. I think even though it's been an improvement under Moyes and we expect an improvement next season, not every player at a relegation level club is terrible. proven by the fact that we have been a relegation club for the past few years and have been asking for 80 million for Jared Brantford. But going off some of these Everton fans' logic, Jared Brantford is terrible because he's finishing 16th and 17th every year. So it kind of proves a point, really. I do understand we had one of the best defensive records in the league, but it's very silly logic to say this one defensive midfielder can change everything about a defence when he's got one of the worst centre-back partnerships in Premier League history that I've ever seen, to be honest with you. Anyway, moving on to a... I'm trying to find who reported this. I can't seem to see it. According to news site EFL Analyst. So EFL Analyst has reported that Everton and Tottenham are both interested in Sheffield United goalkeeper Piers Charles. The 19-year-old Northern Irish goalkeeper has played 12 times this season and picked up plaudits. He's been called up to the senior national team for Northern Ireland. Spurs and Everton have watched him this season. I, again, looked at his per 90 numbers, haven't watched Sheffield Wednesday, so if anyone has, or if you're a Sheffield Wednesday fan, let us know about him in the comments. But, yeah, I think the numbers look really promising, only 19, but I've seen us do this before where we sign young goalkeepers, maybe not to his level, maybe from more, League 2, League 1 area, but with like Harry Tyro, who's been quite good at Blackpool this season. But yeah, with these players where we bring them in, they back up Pickford, they back out, and naturally, they back Pickford to being fantastic, and I think it's just unlucky for them, to be honest with you. But this is one where Pickford's, 28, 29 now, probably on his last leg, signing a 19-year-old who maybe could go on loan for 2 or 3 seasons, back Pickford up for a season, and then take his spot when Pickford eventually leaves. Unless Pickford does have some crazy longevity and is able to play until he's 38, 39. I think this would be a good deal. A lot of it does depend on the money involved. Sheffield Wednesday are a club that are always open to sell. Their owner's not the best, to be honest with you, so it's one where I could see them probably getting less than what they initially wanted for him if they were to sell him, but we'll have to see. I think if we brought someone like that in, we'd have to give him a few championship loans, maybe loans to lower Premier League teams, because I think just having him and hoarding him as a backup goalkeeper for Virginia, in the Virginia role, it'd be a waste of his talents, to be honest with you, from what I'm seeing so far. And the last bit of news comes from the Mail Sport, and that's that Everton are holding talks over the coming days with representatives of players with expiring contracts that they would like to retain. Moyes is keen to bring the squad age down and acquire more robust players who can withstand the pressing game he wants, aka buy Decore. Decore is one way has to go. I love that I'm seeing bring the squad age down. People like Michael Keane, Decore, even though Decore has done a lot for us over the years, have to go. I don't think it's hard to bring in a replacement for Decore's running. I think Alcaraz does a similar job now, maybe not to that level, but I don't think it's hard to find a number 10 who's really willing to press and go for the ball and run. I don't think that's that difficult to find, but the complete lack of technical abilities cost us. And yeah, I'd love to see a much more younger, robust, still physical Everton team that have the legs to keep going, but also have the youth to take a risk, to do something when they're on the ball that we wouldn't expect from these players now. I think if we want to push up the league, we need to lower the squad age. We have to have the highest in the Prem, in my opinion, or at least very up there. I know players like Brownthwaite and will drag it down. James Garner's still only 25, I think, but our average squad age is probably, 28, 29, which is really high nowadays. So I would love to see that squad age come down. And it is ironic considering most of the players that we have been linked with are like 28, 29 years old, but again, young players like maybe Harrison Armstrong being given a chance, Brownthwaite potentially staying, O'Brien's still quite young. I think McCullough's like 26. We can drag that average squad age down to like 26. That's a huge improvement for the squad. And yeah, that's then a lot of players in the prime of their careers if you go off what you'd expect anyway. So I think it'd be a really good move. We'll have to see where it goes, but I am interested to see what happens this summer, because I do think it's going to be a very interesting summer for Everton fans, hopefully anyway. But that is all for this video. If you did enjoy, please make sure to like and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter at Everton Newsfeed, and follow me on Twitter at Callum Brannan3. And I'll see you all on the next video and or live stream that I am on.